So, see, these next few verses, what we are studying is Krishna is trying to point out to his friend Arjuna some of the misunderstandings and present it more accurately. So
Donc,
he's presenting the misunderstanding and then he's correcting it with accurate information. So we need to have, it's very important for Arjuna to have a very clear, accurate understanding. If the understanding is not clear, then what happens? Then there is confusion. So spiritual knowledge means it's an eternal educational system. That means it was not an educational system that was made by humans with an intention to keep humans shackled to the massive human machine corporate food chain. For example, if we look at the educational system in the world, it is to create workers that can go into the workforce to support the companies. So it is a material need that provides the material education. So that system is strictly made to feed into the system. You cannot find in the system of Belgium and Netherlands where they teach you how to be happy. They will not teach you what is the purpose of life. They will teach you engineering, psychology, and you can become a teacher in the system. You can somehow education that is geared towards putting you back into the workforce. So this educational system is called the eternal educational system, the
ce
most
système de
confidential knowledge. An eternal educational system means it gives you education about the eternality of the human existence and the human experience. So Bhagavad Gita is the knowledge, the transcendental knowledge has to be understood accurately. And so one of the first misconceptions that Krishna is clearing out, that there are many, many, many gods. Many people think that there are so many gods. And he explains that there is one God, and
et
he
le
may have many different names. And he does also explain that there are many demigods. And you can worship anyone and everyone,
et vous
and
pouvez
that will be a long process for you to get to the ultimate God of all gods, which is like one God, right? The word Ishvara means God, demigod, and Parama Ishvara means supreme personality of Godhead. And so it's important to understand that, yeah, you're God, I'm God, we are all God. What does that really mean? This concept that everybody is God, there's unlimited number of gods. When that expression is made, we need to understand that they're talking about controllers or miniature gods. We are qualitatively same, but quantitatively different. And just like a drop of water from the ocean, a drop of water in the ocean from the ocean has the same qualities of the water in the ocean. One is a drop, another is the unlimited vast ocean. The drop of water from the ocean has the same quality of the water in the ocean. One is small, one drop, another is unlimited, vast. So this is a very important point that we need to understand accurately. Krishna is sharing with his friend. Some people say you can worship Shiva, you can worship Durga, and you will all go back to the same, ultimately is worshiping, you will go to the final same destination. Yes and no. It's a slow process because it's like eating like this versus eating like this. So that's why in the Bhagavad Gita, the process is given very direct and simple. And the second topic in this section is understanding the caste system. There's a common division in society that is called a division of Varna Ashrama, which is the psychophysical segregation. It's psychophysical
Ok.
social order. And Krishna explains that just because you have a certain psychophysical nature, it does not uh, disallow you from approaching God. Everyone in all of the psychophysical orders can approach God, and the psychophysical order, as long as God is in the center of it, then it is a proper system. It is a very common understanding in the world. You will see the rich people who are businessmen, they have their own unions. The intellectuals, they have their own unions. The labor class has their own unions. And they segregate themselves in ways, but the real essence of the system has not been implemented because it's supposed to be God in the middle of the system. Yeah, otherwise it becomes a fight. Everyone is fighting for uh, a hierarchy in the position. And there is no fight if everyone understands their psychophysical nature and how God is the center of it. For example, if you're a student and you don't have enough money and you're struggling hard to get by, and then there's all these rich people, and you don't understand why there is all these rich people with such material abundance and you don't have that abundance. And so we forget that actually the system that you're in, you're a student in that system, right? And to find God or divine in that situation, in that psychophysical status in your life, then you don't panic and you don't freak out. Otherwise, there's a constant fight. Why these people have more? Why I have less? Why do they have less? Why do I have more? This constant fight in between these four psychophysical natures. And so people who understand that there is a system in this world and they work within that divine system, the divine order, then they're not dissatisfied in life. They're able to maintain peace and harmony. He tells Arjuna that don't worry, you're a Kshatriya, which means you're a warrior class person, but you want to go and be an intellectual class of person, go be a sage in the forest. That's not your psychophysical nature. You're not going to be happy. You're going to be more miserable. So he said, just accept your position as a warrior, as a fighter, and just do your duties. Is to understand that each and every one of us in one of the varnas or ashramas, which are called the four psychophysical natures are categorized. The intellectual class, then the warrior class or the leaders, and then the mercantile class or businessmen, and then there's the worker class.
Et après, c'est les travailleurs.
Each and every one of us, you'll notice, will fall into one of these categories based on our psychology and our physiology. And so it's important to work based on your psychology and in your physiology and not try to change your psychophysiology to fit into some other psychophysiology because you will not be happy. And that is the cause of unhappiness. If tomorrow they ask me to play for the Dutch national team, play soccer for the Dutch national team, my physiology and psychology will not fit. I'm a complete misfit in that arrangement of things. I can try my whole life. It'll be a waste of time. So to understand what is my psychology, what is my physiology, and God has created us with a certain psychophysiology. So to accept that and to work with that, not try to change it. So this is the point, to understand the four caste systems. Each and every one of us do not have one psychophysical nature. It's not static, it's fluid. For example, Namakrishna, she's a Brahminically inclined person.
Par
She's an
exemple,
intellectual person. But that doesn't mean that she cannot also be having mercantile tendencies. She can be an intellectual person, but can also have tendencies to do business.
du
And
business.
sometimes when she sees adharma, when she sees injustice, then she will fight like a Kshatriya also. But you will always find that there is one dominant nature, and the other natures may be secondary nature. So primarily, one dominant nature will always show up as a Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, or a Shudra. So that's why it's not static. Number one is fluid. And then the second point I want to answer Amelie's question is that yes, you can change your psychophysical nature over lifetimes and through the engagement of sadhana and spiritual practice, you can change your psychophysical nature. When a teacher knows your nature, then he nudges you to go into your secondary nature, and that becomes your primary nature. You become very successful in it. For example, Durga Devi by nature, she's a teacher. She understands concepts and she, by nature, that is her psychophysical nature to share and teach others. But I also noticed that she has Kshatriya nature, warrior nature. She likes to get things done and make things move and create things and
Et je crois,
manifest things. So I
ok.
encourage her in that way to follow her second nature. And now, first nature and second nature together, so many things are manifesting in Netherlands. To have someone who understands you and knows you as a teacher, and they can guide you a little bit.
C'est
Otherwise, when you're on your own, it's very difficult to know your own varna and your own ashram. And we are the best teachers and the knowers of our psychophysical nature. If a teacher just asks you the right question, you'll be able to find your varna and your ashram. And that can change over a period of time when the samskaras, through many lifetimes, you will start to change your varna and your ashram. Most important is to accept whatever your varna ashrama is. So, Amelie, say for in this life, you know, like you're an organizer, you're a Kshatriya, right? And now from a Kshatriya, you're working as a Brahmana, giving up the occupation of managing people, systems, and all these things. Now, what are you doing? You're teaching, you're sharing, you've given up one occupation and you're working in your secondary occupation. You were raised in one occupation, you lived in that occupation as a Kshatriya managing people. And now what are you doing? You're teaching. You're sharing spiritual wisdom. You've given up your job to just fully teach. This is an intellectual occupation. Ram, for example, is an intellectual person. What is he doing? He is doing Vaishya work. He's doing work of working for the city. It's more like a Vaishya Shudra kind of an occupation. But his psychophysical nature is he's an intellectual person. He likes to have deep philosophical discussions. That's where he thrives. That's where he finds joy. But that's not what he's doing. And that's okay. As long as we know our nature and we're doing something and hopefully one day to work according to our nature. So in this way, we have to always keep in mind, don't get stuck. Oh, I can only do this. This is the only thing, and there's nothing else I can do. Don't put yourself in such a narrow box. When I was trained, we learned to be Shudras. We learned to work really hard physically. We learned how economy works as business. We learned the philosophy. We learned how to do management and manage people. So we learned all the four uh, works of the four varnas and ashrams, the four psychophysical natures. Varna, say varna, ashram. Varna is psychology, ashram is physiology. So the ashram is grihastha, vanaprastha, brahmachari, and sannyas. These are four ashrams. And varnas are brahmana, kshatriya, vaishya, and shudra. So these are the psychology, and then four are the physiology. So initially in our life, we may not know what is our psychophysical nature. So the system was geared towards giving you so many different options and try you with different options and see where you flourish the most, and then where you're happiest the most. And that's when they would determine your psychophysical nature. But sometimes when all the options are not given, for example, when I came in to the monastery, to the ashram, they immediately determined just by looking at my calm demeanor that I was a Brahmana. And that was the only characteristic. And it was very
About
suffocating.
what? I didn't understand. They determine with what?
Without testing, without
Oh,
giving me
okay.
exposure, right? So then they had determined just by my demeanor that
What
I
is
must be.
demean? What is
Demeanor
demean?
means how I was acting, I was very
Okay.
calm and peaceful.
Your attitude.
That I was
Okay.
actually lost and I was like confused and lost, but it looked like I was very calm and peaceful. So they
Okay.
immediately said, oh, he's an intellectual class and let's put him in this category. So my whole education was on the intellectual class of things. But that wasn't my nature. My nature only came out when I was 17 years old and I was managing people and I was good with people. They're like, oh, he must be a Kshatriya then.
Mm.
So then they just kept switching me around. And then when I started to make money, then they thought, oh, he's also a Vaishya. So then they just keep putting you in different boxes because they don't give you full exposure. So in society, we should introspect and really check what is our varna and what is our ashram and work accordingly so that we are really happy and content. I think, yeah, because our time is up, but it's a very deep topic. There's volumes and volumes of books written on this four varnas and four ashrams and how to find your own varna and ashram. And so, don't get worried if you don't immediately know your psychophysical nature yet. In the Vedas, there is a book called Samudrika Shastra. You did it. You're doing fantastic out there. Magnifique, magnifique. And so there they explain when you don't know the varna of an ashram, you can actually look at their physiology and you can tell what is their varna, what is their psychology based on their physiology. If you want to study, those are all available. And then there is something called Hasta Samudrika, which is you know someone's psychology just by looking at their hands.
Et
And
après,
what
il y a
in the world they call palmistry. So this four varnas and four ashramas are actually divine creations to help humanity work more according to their psychophysical nature.